You guys are live. Yeah.
It's good to be alive.
Extra how those cheeseburgers from Burger King or whatever.
No. And our plans are still up in the air.
But no, we're not,
Okay, this is for signature.
It's shitty.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like that.
Hold on, I think these are all,
Like
yeah.
James Kuchar's mom had just had cancer surgery, and she's like, I can't fucking see my mother because these fucking assholes. So, all right.
Shut up, good. Make it viral. Get my file straight.
Yeah,
Assaulted
it's like it's a person, no, it's fine.
by the state flag.
Oh, gosh. I don't know if I have the stuff with with the check.
That's all Donna gave me. I have no control over this one.
Oh, okay.
She just gives me the folder when I bring that. There's nothing, there's no way. we don't-
What is it?
They messed up my check, so I got some, and then this is the rest of it. But I'm gonna have, I don't know if I have this part.
Oh, you taking the check with you?
Yeah,
Take a check.
yeah, but I,
You can take the whole thing.
yeah, but she wants this part back from the first half.
Please return file paperwork.
Yeah.
First.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't know if you have that.
I'm gonna go.
You don't know. All right, it's 7:01, so I'll call the meeting to order. It's 7:01. All right. First up, we'll have you guys are here, so we'll make you first. 2 items from Bobby, the health officer. The first one is fund request. So, Bobby sent us a letter. There are 4 items in the fund request. One for the HEPA filter. Bobby, would that be put into the air handling system? Or is that?
This particular one that I was proposing, because there's all shapes and sizes, but this one is a standalone that would plug into the wall.
Oh, okay.
They're defined for the particular square footage of the room.
Yep.
So I don't know exactly how much square foot this room is, but we can, if that one, I can measure it or whatever, if we have an idea.
Got it.
This particular one was 1,600 square feet. Again, I'm not a dimension person, so. I don't
That's
know.
probably about right.
That's what I figured, so.
Probably about right.
And that one would be pretty high quality, and it does definitely help, and it would be something for the town, and we, that seemed very reasonable. The test, the rapid antigen test, as I anticipated, that particular one, this was the product that the state had available a couple weeks ago, months ago.
And sold
And
out.
that is sold out. It sold out probably in a week after I sent the email. There are, I just checked today, there's another EUA, emergency use authorized kit that actually Massachusetts is using. Several towns that I was researching just on Boston.com just now are using that actually is a bit less expensive and available. They all come in 2 tests per kit, because really the way they're supposed to be used is done twice within 24 to 36 hours of each other.
Yep.
And so the kit that I'm proposing as an alternative that is available now is 90 packs with 2 tests per pack, so it's 180 tests for $14.99. So it's a bit expensive, but less expensive per kit.
That's a good price.
Let me ask this, in light of what the administration just announced, in that tests will be made available to basically every household who wants one. Should we hold off on this and see, I'm talking about this item.
I don't think so, and here's the reason why. These tests would have been excellent to have started distributing 2 weeks ago. And especially if both the state program that we have as well as the federal program is anticipated to start at least, I think, at the earliest mid-January. I don't know, I wasn't able to listen to the conferences today, I was on some meetings, but I think especially if this is able to be approved tonight using the funds that we have available to the town and only distributed amongst people in town, that would, I think, better assure people who want the test, or we can decide how to allocate them, would best be delivered to folks in town. And I can start doing that.
You say deliver, not have them like available here?
Well, I have to think about, we have to think about how we want to.
How to get them out to the people.
I wasn't necessarily thinking about signing a t-shirt.
Well, no, I don't think it's a good idea. I'm just trying to figure out how you would do it.
I don't know, there's a lot of variables here, so again, if I had known to ask you 2 weeks ago and it got approved then, I would have had a particular strategy. If it gets approved tonight, I will think about and potentially noodle around with the three of you and or other people about the best strategy. But my thinking was they're going to be helpful at any juncture for sure, and I would like to probably set up as opposed to I don't want to say free for all, but whoever can log on the website first and then deplete the supply that we have people log on, like I've done Google Forms, which will just put information in, say what they need, maybe have a checkbox as to what are the particulars that they want to use it for, and collect that and have a list, contact people. I don't mind doing the legwork to figure out the best way to do it. If some need to be done and delivered prior to the holidays or prior to January or what have you. The other thinking was at the vaccine clinic, which has not yet been approved, but it should be board, give the formal okay for that on MLK Day. That could be a day, and it's going to be open for 4 hours, that we can potentially distribute to folks as they
But you
come.
need them before that.
I'm sorry?
Don't you need the test out there before that?
We're going to need testing for a while. Yeah, so.
What's the turnaround on those tests for shipping and stuff?
If I clicked add to cart right now, it'd say usually ships in 3 days.
Sorry,
Within 2 or 3 days.
I'm sorry?
You said it ships within 2
It
or 3
says
days.
usually ships within 2 to 3 days. You know how these work. So, I don't know. I do know that if we wait a bit longer, this particular test might not be available. But I think, so if we could, I'm going to look at the other items on the list too. So obviously the largest ticket item was the test, but the goal of those was to have them available to folks in Newfield as a priority. Surgical masks, which I know the town had purchased a supply at one point to have available for different events. I think there's still some available here, but if not, I think it might be nice to have them available moving forward. And then the fourth item was, I'm thinking about people in town who don't really use social media or maybe watch meetings online or anything like that. But I know like the library has quarterly newsletters that go out and I write a little column. I try to keep that very, I don't want to say generic, but the deadline is like 3 weeks before it's printed, so it's hard for me to really do anything contemporaneously in those. But if I were able to get something out or put on there information for how to contact me to people who may not have a particular, who I still might not have reached, I think I'd like to do that and put some facts about COVID, about vaccine, about things that are hopefully helpful to people. I hope you all have agreed that I tried to approach this in a way that isn't isolating I want it to be helpful information for everybody, and known as a place where people can come to me if they have questions to ask. And so I have not yet done anything in particular about sending any information out to people through the mail, but I use that 360. I think that's how much it costs to print and mail the celebration, holiday celebration mailers, and so that's where I got that dollar figure. I don't know if that's on high end or low end, but that includes the postage. But before I send that out, I have the select board approve whatever it is that I send out. So my goal would be, if that got approved, I would prepare something and bring it to the board at a select board meeting, and then have it soon and quickly printed out, so it's current. So those are just some ideas I had looking at I remember at the last select board meeting, we were thinking about, well, we have this money, it doesn't have to be spent this year, but it has a deadline, which I think, like you were saying, is 2 years, like it's not like it
2025.
Yeah, so a couple of years, but I do think that certainly the purifier, air purifier, is something that is going to be hopefully lasting several years. That's sort of a nice mini investment for the town hall. The tests, I think, are going to be, as I said before, helpful at any time, but in particular right now. I mean, they were more helpful. I mailed a test out to my family that we had a little celebration recently, and they were very happy to have them, but I happened to buy them a while ago. If you try to go buy them now, they're pretty difficult to find.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking when you talk about a mailer, I think everybody's pretty much had it up to the gills about how COVID spread and everything, but if you could outline and really have a good contact number for you and what your job is.
Exactly,
I
yeah.
don't think people really think that they have a health officer or somebody in town they can call.
I mean, there's a certain number of people who do on social media who've seen it, but
Yeah.
for the 40, I don't know, but there's a good number of people who don't. So I agree. And if there's anything on there that we wanted to either add from the select board perspective or from the town perspective, in addition to like, hey, these are other things that our town is using this money for, like to be transparent with it, I think is helpful. And those are just ballpark numbers. I spent about an hour putting this together. And then, well, I guess what I would say is the totals are a bit different with the new tests that are now available. And the other question I would have for the board is, we can certainly up or decrease the number of tests that we purchase. And that would change the number, but again, as I understand, we have, how much was the town afforded? 171,000. And this particular listing of things was 7,000, so it was about 4% of the amount allocated to the town.
So what's the change in the cost for the test? You said,
So it was
you said 14.99?
It was $14.99 for 90 packs. So that
For
would-
90?
Yep. So that's $60 for a test or two, a box of two.
So okay.
So $8 a test.
So how
And then
many kits are we talking about?
So if we're talking about kits,
Yeah.
each kit.
Each
goes
kit
two
has
tests.
two tests.
Correct.
How many kits?
So there is in one, 100, so $14.99, there's 180 tests, so 90 kits.
So you're talking 90 kits
Correct.
for $6,500.
Nope, 90 kits for $14.99.
90 kits times $14.99.
90 kits times $16.65, which is how much each kit costs, equals $14.99.
Okay, so what we have in front of us though is a request for
But that's times six,
$6,500.
right?
What we have in front of you was a letter I sent 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
that is no longer available.
Okay, so what you're talking about now is $1,400 and some odd
This-
dollars for 90,
$1,500.
$1,600, $1,600. Okay, for 90 kits. So,
So then do you need 3 sets of them? Because,
Again, if we get 3 sets, that would be 4,497, and that would be, again, forgive me, this wasn't what I had originally.
no, I get it. That's why we're here.
I think I'm happy to do the math now or later, but I want to know, A, is the select board agreeable to expending some money on this? And then B, is the goal to have 50% of the people in town have a kit available, or to figure out how to spend $4,000 and get as many as you can and do it that way? Because I can do the math either way.
Okay, so let me just mention a few things here that I think we can think about. Okay, one is, again, I think we need to consider this in the context of what the administration is doing, which is basically providing kits available to anybody who wants to get them.
are you talking about New Hampshire or the federal government?
Federal government.
That's going to start in
Yeah,
January.
I understand, but but what we're ending up doing here is just stockpiling kits. And if we're just gonna stockpile them, I'm not sure that's the best use here, especially if we're just gonna stockpile them and then they're just gonna be available via the federal government anyways. Second thing is, second issue I have is, so, use the example that you raised, which is, somebody's gonna have a party at their house, are they gonna come here and get 30 kits? And say, I want to send kits to 30 people?
Michael, as I outlined in the letter, I am more than happy to use my experience and my skill and my judgment as a physician, as a public health, I don't know if it's expert, but somebody who's worked in public health for several years, to figure out the most appropriate and equitable way to distribute however many kits the town agrees to purchase using this money. I also want to clarify, I'm not planning on stockpiling these. I agree, these have about a 6-month expiration date, so it probably wouldn't make sense to stockpile them. I'd like to purchase them ASAP. I'd like to purchase them the day I requested them, but I understand that we need to vote on these things. And so I'm asking for the board to consider a certain dollar amount, if that's how you feel is best to approach this. Or approve a certain number of kits to purchase, and I'll tell you how much that is.
I really, I don't know how to get the kids out to the people, but there's it's a freaking scramble to get tests. I don't care if you say they're available, they're not available. One drugstore will have 0, and another will have a display. And there are people in this town who don't get out and about, like my neighbor. Were it not for her kids, she wouldn't have access to a test. And I don't know how to get these to people who don't have the wherewithal to go and hit all the drugstores or go online and order, or
18 months ago, we formulated a way to bring food to people who were stuck in their home when they were quarantined. So
Yes.
I will rest assured, I and
Meals
the
on
town will
Wheels.
figure out a way, but
Yeah.
I would encourage you all to not have that be the reason for us not to move in. If you have other reasons for that, that's perfectly fine. But I will figure out a way, and the town will figure out a way.
no, I am all for it.
So I'll ask, again, would people prefer to say we would approve to purchase 600 tests? Bobby, tell me how much that costs, and then we can approve that, or are you willing to approve a certain dollar figure? I can tell you
Well,
how.
how about if we try to get a grip on how many households we have in the town? I am guessing.
There's 580
Oh,
households.
500 now, okay.
That's what I thought I remember 5 change, but that's 540, but so 580. So 580 would be if there are 90.
I don't think everybody,
I mean, absolutely, Betsy. I'm not sure that it makes sense to buy a test kit for every household in
no,
town.
not by a long
Let
shot.
me ask the question this way. How many households have made a request of anybody in this town for a test kit right
How many households have asked me as a
now?
person?
You or downstairs? yeah?
Many people. My family included. I mean, people are looking for it. So,
Is many a dozen? Is many 100?
I know that there are a lot of people, I mean, the million tests that the governor sent out was gone in less than 24 hours. So
It
there's
was.
certainly a demand. People with children in school, I'm sure, will take more than one kid
Uh-huh.
to make sure that their kids are, safe to be in school. I mean, given the crisis that's happening right now and the numbers in our community, I think it's prudent to have test kits available for whomever would like them. And if, Bobby, you are able to figure out an equitable way to distribute those tests, however you come up with that, I'm 100% in support of spending whatever you think the town would need with our level of transmission and the number of people in our community. If you have an opinion and you're, about the number of tests that you think we should have for the town this size, I would like to hear that. If you think that we should have a test for each household, just to to have a number, we're purchasing a test kit for every household. What do you think we should have?
I think it would be, I agree, I don't think every single household is going to require one. However, I do think that there are households that would probably benefit from more than one. If you have, my neighbors, we have 4 people in our house, right? So if you're supposed to do it, 2 in 1 week for one person, I mean, technically, I think anything is going to help. I told my mom today, and she said, "But Bobby, these tests aren't perfect." I said, "Mom, we're looking at data points, and any data point is going to help." And so then I went and found the path of talking about that stuff. Again, my original proposal was for 540 tests, which I think, extrapolating that here with 90, that would be, like you said, 3 of them. So that would be 4,500, 4,400.
I don't know that I like going by the number of households, and I don't like the idea of trying to underwrite testing for people with 4 kids in the elementary school who
Well,
need to get tested
well,
every other.
Betsy, the question
Where it is.
becomes, what's the priority here, right? Who is the priority?
The priority is, hopefully, this would be to bridge the gap before these tests are more accessible, because
No, I'm talking about what segments of the population in this town are the priority for this.
elderly.
I would assume that that's it, but my guess is that
I'm sure-
the initial demand is gonna be coming from parents in the school.
And
I'll
schools
once again
should know.
clarify, my approach for how to do this was to say, these are comments to all of you. Who would have a particular interest? Indicate to me that your circumstances, and I will see that it's distributed in an equitable way. I mean, and that's what I'm telling you, I'm asking you to entrust in me that particular angle of it, if you will. At the same time, I don't think that should forego us pursuing this as a potential expenditure of monies that we have for this.
What if we did this? What if we got 2 kids? I'm confused by your math on this paper because you changed the.
I'm sorry.
So, no, it's okay, I'm just trying, so you were thinking with this new set of kits, how many would you?
So if we got
6
3 of
or
them,
3
so
of
if we
them?
got 3 of these new kits at $14.99 a pop, that would give us,
So instead of doing 3 for the 4,500,
correct.
what if we did 2? And then we'll see how the response is.
I have no problem, if you said we approve 1, fine, that's what we have. I mean, that's what we do when we have limited resources, we figure out how to distribute in healthcare, that happens all the time. But right now we have 0, so I'm not distributing anything, and it's not, we have 0 and we have money that has not yet been spent in public health here in town, and I'm asking for us to consider that.
Well, I don't trust when we're gonna see the availability of these kits, and I've gotta say, being old, I'm telling you, the lag time of the older people getting, that aren't online or something like that, I mean, they just don't know, they just don't get these things.
And PCRs are running 4 days.
Mm.
We need to have quick in-home testing and
Yes.
Well, you need that just to send your kid back to school, so,
So again, I also don't need to monopolize time of the meeting. I would ask if the board could give me some sort of guidance or approval, ideally, of some of the requests for dollars, and I will obviously submit receipts within the parameters of whatever you all approve for reimbursement. If that's how this particular funding works, I believe that's what they said, it would be a expenditure and a reimbursement.
One other
Yeah.
quick thing, are the actual test packaged individually, or all the tests that I've
They'd
come
be
across are packaged of two?
two, correct.
Okay,
Each test kit comes with 2 tests in it,
yeah. Just,
each box.
yeah, no, I've never seen them any other way, but who knows?
And there's no, in all honesty, there's no reason why we couldn't separate them if that's what was decided. I would prefer not to. I think we
Yeah.
would prefer not to.
I mean, the handling instructions on those test kits alone say you don't want other people handling the tubes or the strips or any of the material in the kit. I think that would be an incredibly bad idea.
They're all individually now, so that's not what I
Yeah.
was proposing, but your point stating that they are meant to be delivered as a.
Well, you're supposed to do 2 tests.
Yeah, correct. You're right. That's it.
So I'll make, are we finished discussing it?
You should be.
Should
I'll
we
make
go
a-
line by line, or is it? Sorry, go ahead. I don't know.
I'm gonna make a motion to accept your proposal for funding. I don't think anything in here is, extravagant, for lack of a better word. I think we should have as many tests available for the residents as possible. But otherwise, that's my opinion on this, that I think this is a reasonable request and worth spending the money on to keep everybody safe.
Look, I appreciate you wanting to move quickly, but I'm not sure that we have a good plan in place in terms of the priorities, who really needs these tests, what they're going to be used for, how they're going to be allocated. I don't have a problem with us basically spending some money to do some tests. I'd rather spend some money so you can get a program in place before we go whole hog, especially in light of the fact that both the state and the federal government now are rolling out free test programs. I know they're not as timely as what you're talking about. Of course, you put the order in, you may not see the order for 6 weeks.
Well, that's a hell of a long time when you're talking about.
Oh, no, my point here is that yes, they say they'll ship in 3 days, but we know nothing gets delivered right now on time. We may not see these kits till February.
Well, if you order 45 kits, and as a starting point, we have a list,
Set up a program.
for the senior citizens, just to start,
Yeah.
and then check with the school as to who, they always know families that are in need. I know we're an affluent town, but there's still, this is a bitch of a cost if you've got kids in school, so I'm sure the school could help, but I just know for a fact that there are older people out there that don't have the wherewithal to get out and get these tests and know how to use them and. the whole-
I agree. I think that's really where the priority lies. And my concern is we get hundreds of kits, and I'm not saying you're going to do this, but when you have lots of supplies, it is inevitable that it draws demand. It creates its own demand, and people are going to say.
That's not a hell of a supply.
No. My point here is, I would rather get us to basically start this program, figure out what the priorities are, figure out how to communicate this information, how are you going to distribute them, how are you going to evaluate who should get them and who should not. Somebody shows up and says, I'm going to have a party, I need 8 kits, what's your response? I don't know what the response is. Are they all 8 in town? Are they not in town? I think I would rather us do this in a smart way instead of just saying, we're gonna go spend money and get kits, because it sounds like a great idea right now.
All right, and that's all I'm proposing. I would also point out though that I have several full-time jobs, and I agree it would be nice if we could set up a program, but it's really me and my friends who want to help.
I understand that, and all the more reason to, I think, do this in a smart way, as opposed to suddenly getting 600 kits here, and they're stacked up in your house or somewhere else, and we don't know exactly how this is gonna work. I'd rather get a good amount of kits, figure out the priority. I tend to agree with Betsy, it's probably the seniors in town, which would probably be a good starting point in terms of, we have kids, we want to notify you, here's how we're going to get them to you, do you want to pick them up, do they contact you, do they contact town hall, how does information get from town hall to you, et cetera, et cetera.
I hear you. I think I still need to know, before this particular supplier runs out, when I can purchase this, and how much you are approving for me to do so. And then the distribution mechanism, which I will take into consideration all of what you're saying, and if you would like, absolutely update you on what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
yeah, that's what I'm saying here.
But it's not like it's $50. I mean, this is like a lot of money, so I can't just spend it and hope you came back.
No,
So that's-
no, it'll be reimbursed. That's not the issue. That's certainly not the issue.
No, I know, but in terms of the knowledge, what am I first? Just tell me and I'll do it. I appreciate it.
Leslie?
I just to point to the priority of seniors. Every time a kid is sent home or goes to the nurse at Newfields and they have a stomach ache or a headache, or they're sent home or they have a cold and they don't get, you have to test every time. It has to be a negative test. Whether you know it's a cold, or you know it's just a headache, or your child has a stomach ache, which is what happened to me, not this morning, you can't send them back without a negative test. So it's not just the seniors. It is a good proportion.
No, I understand that, Leslie.
And they are, granted, it's, you know, $14, $16, whatever, but it adds up when it's cold season. So that's just, it's not
Understood.
just the
And I think Bobby's got a good grip on it. No, you do not give out tests. Somebody's stupid enough to say, I'm having a party.
No, that doesn't happen.
But I guarantee you, when
That doesn't
people find out that this town has them, those are the kinds of requests you will be getting. Guaranteed.
I have a strategy for, that I'm pretty organized with. I can deal with lots of angry people, or eager people to get certain things, that's because I'm not promising it, I guess I should say that, you're gonna get this meeting. This is gonna be a program that will figure out a way for our whole town to get these, at this point.
All right, so I'll make a motion here. I'll make a motion that we
I already
get,
have a motion on the table.
okay. But your motion is for the 540 test kits, correct?
I will, for whatever Bobby thinks we
Not
need
540.
right now, it's 540.
Well, she said her motion was for everything in the letter. Is there a second for that motion?
$7,317.28.
Hold on. The motion was for the letter as written. Is there a second for that motion?
Yeah,
You're gonna motion for all 540 test kits.
yep.
Okay. There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I oppose.
I know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I find that we are doing things out of a knee-jerk fashion as opposed to having a plan and figuring this out. It's unfortunate. Bobby, you have your money.
Yep, this
Isn't a knee-jerk reaction, Michael. This is a
Yes, it is.
18-month long.
We have no plan in place with respect to this challenge.
It is a.
I have no
crisis.
problem approving tests.
Please don't talk over me. This is a COVID crisis. This is not, some passing whim. And we need to take it seriously. We need to keep our residents safe. Nobody can get a test. That's our job. Our job is to help the residents. If our residents can't get tests from their doctors or the pharmacy or urgent care, I couldn't book a test to urgent care for 3 days. That was the next available appointment. So if this is gonna help keep our residents safe, more power to you, Bobby.
And thank you. I'm happy to work with you all in terms of how this will look. I will reimburse or submit any expenditures to you via email, or should I do it to?
yeah.
I'd send it to Sue and Donna, maybe?
Pardon?
Sue and Donna? Donna does the.
I'll just send it to all of you. You guys can
Yeah.
either send
Yeah.
it. Thank you. And the second, I'm sorry, with the vaccine fund.
What?
So are we done?
Tag me to help with, if it's the calls or contacting people, because I've confronted this problem, as I'm sure. Let's see, that's it's
Multiple times.
different population group, but it's for real.
All right, next item, vaccine clinic request that you made. You're looking to do this on the 17th of January, correct?
Yes, so it's a Monday, Martin Luther King Day, the day that we previously had a few volunteer events. In lieu of doing that, I was hoping to do a vaccine clinic here at the state. It is available to come in with their, it's not a van anymore because they require indoor space to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have that date available and can offer vaccines for 5 and up. And they are asking for folks, for me to give a number of people that we want to have vaccinated. They have different amounts. I don't think we have to live by that, but as you've seen on some of the material that's put out by the DHHS every week, they sort of say, oh, this place has a max of 200 doses, this place has a max of so-and-so doses. It would need to be open to, quote, the public, so it's not just Mitchell's residents.
It's not, yeah. But that's just the way it goes, yeah.
Right.
I think these clinics have been well attended, these vans, as far as I can tell. I don't know, I haven't seen one.
At this point, they are very well attended
Yeah.
because the pharmacy availability for vaccines for folks who want it is very limited.
Yeah,
People are looking at into January, which this will be in January, but I think.
that's not too far away.
Correct. So the question I have is, can we use it from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Monday?
And you want to do it in here?
I think this would be a big space.
So when you say van, it's set up in a
Yeah.
space, it's not like, okay.
No, it's in here. They did, just like when we had the fall festival, or the summer, what was it, the fall festival.
Yeah.
They said it's helpful for us to let the police and I guess from the fire department just know that's happening. They don't anticipate any event and you don't need a security, but thankfully you're just downstairs.
Yeah.
No, so just use the town hall for this event, correct?
Yeah.
Great. I'll make a motion to have the state vaccine clinic here on January 17th from 8 to 12.
I'll second.
Betsy seconds, all in favor? Aye, great.
Thank you.
But you use the word pencil in Monday, so it's gonna say,
I'm gonna email the person
Thereabouts.
now, and I would say
Okay.
it is.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a problem, you know, if it's a change of date, I don't think,
watch it snow.
I don't think that we have,
Well, it's
I don't think we
inside.
have this utilized on that weekend at all, so.
Thank you all.
All right, next item, Lily Lane Bond. So as was discussed at the last meeting, Larry Shaw made a request for a replacement bond for Lily Lane. It is, the bond has been rolled over to a date, I think 2 years hence. So we should have it covered now under bond up until the point in time where presumably the town will be taking over the road. So at this point in time, I think it's just keep an eye on this. The board doesn't, I don't think the board needs to do anything else with the bond.
So the original bond is extended 2
Yep.
years?
It looks like the original bond was extended for 2 years. It's probably the cheapest and easiest way for them to get it done.
Does that say anything about when they expect to finish it?
Presumably.
So there's still.
There's 2 houses there. I can't imagine they're not gonna have those houses done in the next year. And at which point in time, once the houses are done and the heavy equipment is off the road, they can basically finish the road.
You said that because not all the lots were built on.
Correct.
That's why they finished the
Yep,
road.
yeah, and it's the heavy equipment that you don't want to top coat a road with heavy
Yeah.
equipment.
Thank you.
Next item, the 457 retirement plan. Chief had raised this a couple of meetings ago. He had provided the information downstairs on the retirement plans. Hopefully you have a chance to go through that and look at that. Any questions, comments about the 457s?
You.
Where was that, Sam?
That was downstairs. He provided the materials downstairs in the
Oh, right,
office.
yes. No, I didn't have any questions.
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve town employees to be available for 457 retirement plans. It's a retirement plan that doesn't require the town contribution. The employees can contribute. It carries with them from job to job, which means if they leave the town of Newfield, they can take this to another employment. It's a great retirement plan. I wholeheartedly support it.
I'll second.
Second from Jackie. All in favor?
I,
Aye. Great.
One more thing, board, I was just notified that we did not vote on the encumbrance of the county cruiser. I guess we have to take a vote on that, is that?
I'm not sure, I believe we had that vote, and more than happy to do it again. Yeah, we did a formal vote.
I was just, it wasn't in the minutes, so I just want to make sure it's.
Oh, the minutes for last meeting? There should be in the minutes for
It
last
should
meeting.
be.
Because we voted on the cruiser to be encumbered, we voted for the radios from emergency management and the 17,000 fit up from detail.
I remember you.
Yeah. I remember it.
Go through.
We'll amend the minutes.
Okay.
We'll amend the minutes to reflect
I
that.
have the figures here if you
Yep.
need. Okay.
Yep, no. I mean, unless I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that we voted all three of those items at the last meeting.
We may have, but it is not in the minutes. All it says is Michael agreed that it made sense to purchase them now, so.
Okay, we'll amend the minutes to reflect the vote,
Okay.
because I know that we voted it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay. So we'll do with that when we get to the minutes. Okay, residents correspondence. We have a correspondence from the Chick family thanking the town for the flowers for their father's service.
Yep.
Minutes just reflect receipt of that correspondence from the Chicks. Warrant article draft, 75 Main Street. So, with respect to the water district, there was a discussion at the last meeting about the amounts and the totals. After the last meeting, I had drafted the proposed language for the warrant article, sent it to the water district. They came back with concerns about including the fire department. My follow-on correspondence kind of identified the numbers more specifically to them, as well as the minutes in the prior meetings where we had agreed in terms of the approximate amounts of 14,000 over the course of a particular year and then the 10 years. With that, Wendy sent back an email saying that they agree that the numbers make sense and should reflect both town hall and the fire department. They were checking with town council, with their council as a final check on the draft language, but on page 3 of that package, you should see the draft language that I had also circulated to you guys. My assumption is that that will be the warrant article language. I'll make a motion tonight to approve this. Of course, any last minute changes can be done at deliberative before that. But I think that this is the language which will properly reflect the deal that we were considering with the water department for 75 Main Street.
So I remember reading the response from Wendy
Mhm.
to you, but it's not in here. So I can't remember exactly what she said, but she did agree with your corrections, but did she change anything on the?
She didn't change anything in the warrant article. They're going to do a last check with their legal counsel. I have not heard back from them. I mean, we can defer this and before the budget hearing, we can do a 10-minute meeting to approve the warrant article. But I don't care if you guys want to vote now and just amend it at deliberative, or we can hold off and then vote at another day.
No, I'm fine with it if, I was just trying to remember that.
Yep.
She just agreed with your corrections,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yep, she did.
Did you have a motion on the table?
I put a motion on the table to propose this warrant.
I'll second it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Keisha, can you make sure Sue drafts that and gets that off to DRA for their approval. Next up, there is correspondence from Lori Martin.
I think it's funny, it's the same area.
It's a
that
clean out area over there. Yeah.
Our beautification, whatever.
Yeah. So the correspondence, just for public edification, Lori's pointing out the debris when we had this section of the town hall property cleared for brush. There's a lot of leaves and other stuff over there that needs to be cleaned out. As she pointed out, the fence will have to be repaired, replaced, most likely replaced.
Why do we need a fence?
I'm not saying that we do. I don't even know if the fence is on our property or on Pierce's property.
That just makes the leaves pile up.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if it's our fence or the neighbor's fence, to be honest.
Lori would know.
I would suggest, though, before we take any action, that we may want to do this in the spring.
Call this winter.
I'm not calling this winter, but I mean, if you're gonna do a good job, right? Somebody's
Well,
gonna come in and do it.
But if, do it and weather dependent.
Yeah.
Because I think she's looking for something to do before spring, that might be,
I mean, I'm more than happy to have them handle it as under their contract, and if they can give us a price on it, that'd be fine. Why don't I say that we're interested in getting a quote on it, and we'll go from there.
yeah, but this is,
Yep. I mean, it's not an emergency, but again, you can have it done.
It is-
We'll get
it
a
is-
quote on it and have it done right.
this is the second time it's come up,
Yep.
second or third.
Item 8, we had discussed in non-public, so we can move on from that. Item 9, Town of Newfield's replacement signs.
Yeah.
What is that in reference to?
I think it's the town, Newfield's the one that signs at
It says,
the beginning of
yeah,
town. I think they're missing.
The welcome to
they're
town?
all gone.
Okay.
They are, they're not there anymore.
The green, wait a minute, which one?
The blue ones, right?
Yeah, the ones that said,
Let me ask,
Town of Newfields, we had to put, I think we
Put one
figured
on
this out
the-
once before, there were 4 of them.
yeah.
The blue and white sign, that's gone?
No, it was, was it white lettering or gold lettering?
I don't remember.
Let me ask Brian.
Yeah,
If anyone's gonna know, it's gonna be Brian.
There was one right in front of Hayden's.
Or the
Yeah.
say that.
No, my guess is when they put in the purple hearts,
Oh.
they removed the town of
No,
Newfield.
they were gone
But I don't
before
know.
that. They weren't there before Purple Hearts.
I'll ask Brian.
Okay.
I'll make a note to ask Brian.
My husband asked me that
Yep.
about every other week.
Because did they put, so there's, one of the signs is next to your house, did there used to be a, town of Newfield sign there? Like, did they just reuse the post or something?
I don't know. I just don't
I'm just
know.
curious.
Yep. Phone service. So you have a quote from Vonage here. This is to basically upgrade the town hall, police department, library, and water and sewer phone lines. Basically, this is an internet-based phone service. One of the issues that we have with our existing phone line is when it rains, one of the lines tend to drop. As a matter of fact, I was on with Sue the other day on a rainy day, and literally the phone just cut.
Oh, my goodness.
It happens. It's an old system. So this is basically a quote for a replacement system. It would basically be $310 a month, which is basically comparable to what we're paying now, but it's a more robust system, better service.
Paying now to whom?
We are currently paying phone service to, I can't remember who we're paying it to.
I didn't even think Vonage was still around. I used to have the Vonage
yeah.
line
Oh,
a
yeah.
long time ago.
So, again, this is basically a comparable amount of money. Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comparable amount of money, better phone service is what we're doing. Same amount of money in the budget.
So does anybody know anything about the new fiber optic line that I've seen advertised coming in? Is that getting anywhere near us?
I don't think it's coming in here.
No,
Something idiom.
so Consolidated, which is Consolidated Communications, is streaming fiber optic. They are streaming in Newfields. Probably in the, coming soon, I think Chuck Oliver's having his installed sometime in January, if I remember correctly. I think they pulled it up to his house, but they haven't done the final installation, if I remember correctly. So
it
it
is
is
fiber,
available,
yeah.
yeah. Fiber communication is probably overkill for everything that gets done around here in town hall. I mean, that being said, you know, what this does is basically a service over the internet. So if at a point in time we upgrade our internet service, this will end up going over the fiber. This is just a phone service via, you know, voice
So
over
this
IP.
is just stopgap because,
I wouldn't say stopgap. This is a service. It's not over copper anymore. It's going to be service over our internet connection.
yeah.
And so it's a much more robust in terms of what they can do. It's easier to call forward. You can have calls much more easily. You can run all your calls through your phone. You can run your call forwarding through your phone. All your voicemails, everything. You know, Sue could bump her line to her phone, you know, much easier walking out the door than, you know, the issues that we have with the existing phone service. So what this does is gives them more robust service, same price.
Is this the only quote we got?
We did put it up to bid. This was somebody from Vonage coming here, Jeff Feenstra, and, you know, Jeff Feenstra basically has a good deal with Vonage to get this started.
We have internet service, right?
Yes.
Is there an option there to like combine voice and internet with our internet provider?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, currently our internet service, I think it's through Comcast.
It's gotta be.
Yep.
Where else would it be from?
But what, you know, Comcast will provide a voice service, but what this is also doing is providing us with new handsets, right? And again, a more robust service where we have a phone company to call when we have a problem with the phones, as opposed to calling Comcast.
Did you get any bids back?
No, again, this wasn't put out to bid.
Oh,
This
okay.
was, Vonage came to us, Jeff Feenstra initiated this, Vonage came to us and said, hey, we can upgrade your phone service for the same amount of money.
All right, I don't feel like I know enough about the problems, but I trust you on it.
We don't have to approve this tonight. There's no requirement to do so.
If the phone service is an issue, I think I'd like to see one or two more. I'm not sure how many companies do this level of, you know, office type phone service. But what did you say we pay now?
It's about the same amount, 300 a month. We pay about 3,600 a year in phone service.
And how about, so we don't bundle it?
No, because we don't have TV here.
No, we should.
Well, as it would end up being a commercial service as opposed to a residential. So
you're trying to hang on to the residential versus,
no. We pay a commercial rate. I'm just saying, if we were to get TV service,
oh,
this is a commercial property, so the rates are through the roof.
yeah, no, I'm not.
You know, we pay a commercial internet rate because this is a commercial property. So it's not like what you're paying at home. It's obviously very different because of that.
Yeah.
Right, that's I think what I was trying to question, like if commercial rates can be shopped around or
Oh, sure.
basically the same, or how that.
I'm just trying to think 5 years ahead or so, and I am sick of Comcast. Just always looking for alternatives, so.
I mean, if you're saying that this is going to be the same amount for an upgraded system, then
Yeah.
I think that's fine.
It's a 3-year term. Just note that, right? It's a 3-year term. So it's not like it's a year and then we, you know, if we want to shop around. We're making a commitment
So
here
what-
saying, okay.
What
Same amount.
precipitated this? How did it?
Jeff Feenstra, they've been having problems with the phones now for quite some time.
Okay.
Jeff Feenstra, you know, I'm sure we discussed it with Sue or somebody else in town. He said, oh, you know what? I'll go get you a quote. And he worked with them, had some calls with Sue about it, just to identify what this service is gonna be needed, and, you know, they put together a quote for this. So it's unsolicited, we didn't go up for a bid or anything like that, this is an unsolicited quote.
But it sounds like we need to update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If phones are cutting out, that doesn't sound great.
Yeah, exactly, which is why I'm looking at this saying, okay, it's no increase in cost, we need to upgrade the phone, we'd have to go out to bid, it's gonna take some time. I think I'd rather just say, okay, great, do this for now, and when it comes up in 3 years, to put it up to bid and get a better phone service. If that's all right with you guys.
Yep.
All right, now I'll make a motion to accept the bonus bid for new phone services for town hall for next year.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Nice.
Aye. Thank you.
Finalized budget.
Yep. Before we go there, let's just cover some of the other items here. Checks, I think we're all set.
Yeah.
American Red Cross, there's $500 left in the donations budget. Somebody had said, do we want to send $500 to Red Cross? They had made a solicitation earlier. Yes, sir.
Did we, I feel like we talked about revisiting the requests and
Yep.
maybe sending that to somebody
Yeah, that's
that
what.
didn't get.
We haven't had a further discussion about it. I mean, we're at the end of the year. If anybody has some thoughts about who they want to, if we have $500 left in the budget, we want to send it to somebody, we can send it to somebody. If we don't want to send it to somebody, we won't.
So they just happen to be the,
They did, they made an inquiry.
They made a second request.
Yeah.
how do you say no?
I don't.
How do you say no to anybody?
I know, exactly.
I mean, yeah, they need, yeah.
I'm good with it. I think
Yeah, I am too. I'm
Okay.
just thinking there could be people. who-
I'll motion, we'll do that as part of the last donation.
I'll make a second.
Jackie seconds, all in favor? Aye. Great. Okay, so, budget. Most of the budget, we had worked through it last meeting, we had a couple outstanding issues that we just wanted to talk about. I've given some thought, I had one thought about how we might want to address some of this. So, with the ongoing numbers, hold on a second. Anything over here? Six. Okay. So, the way we have it now, with the fire department at the 86,358, without dealing with the on-call money, our current operating budget is at 1813099. We currently have $57,000 in warrant article requests. I don't expect that we'll have more money in that type request, but it's an open question. So that leaves us with a total outlay of 1870099. 1870099, which would be the operational budget plus the warrant articles. I'm assuming the warrant articles pass. So that,
You got it.
yeah. But that does not include any additional funds for the fire department. Okay? That's
because you haven't added in, if it were to be a warrant article.
correct, and this is where we left the discussion. This is where we left the discussion last time. And again, before the budget meeting, we have to come to a determination on this. So, one thought I had, given that, this is right now, even without another dime for the fire department, we're looking at a 14% increase in our tax rate. So, fire department is looking for something on the order of $80,000 for this on-call program. just for a moment, adding that in, okay? That makes our tax effort now at 21.7% increase. Okay? And that's assuming revenues next year of 666,900, which is what Sue is currently ballparking for our revenues for next year.
What are you leading up to?
Well, what I would like to try to do is lead down to try to figure a way to lower that tax effort from 21.7%.
So when you say,
You want to find 80 grand somewhere?
Yeah, or a good portion of 80 grand, and I think I can.
Okay, shoot.
One way to do it is, if we baby step into this program, we can try to, it's not going to get rid of the large tax effort increase, but if the town is really going to start moving towards an on-call program for the fire department, maybe we can utilize tax dollars over a number of years. Okay? My thought is, instead of adding 80,000 to the fire department budget, we add 20,000. But because we have available funds in ARPA, we can utilize those funds. They are off-budget money. It doesn't hit the tax rate.
I know where you're going with this, and this just bugs the hell out of me. No. And you can slice and dice it any way you want. I've talked to several people on this. This is a big change. And to just throw even 20 grand at it without input from the town and what this means to our fire, we don't have many departments. And I just saw the guys go through them today. This
If this doesn't
needs
pass,
more than
If this
20
doesn't
grand
pass-
thrown at it.
if this doesn't pass, talking to some insurance agents about this, you're looking at potentially several $100s on everybody's homeowners insurance, which is going to cost this town a heck of a lot more money than the money we're talking about.
well, that's if the fire department disbands. That's if the fire department dissolves completely.
If we do not have response times, then the insurance companies will re-rate this town.
Well, and then we throw 80 grand at it and maybe it doesn't work.
I don't disagree. But what you're saying is that we're okay. Look, if you guys want to run this route, I don't think it's a smart route to run. I don't.
Well, I hate to throw it all on Jackie, but I really feel strongly about this. And you on the spot. It's just a sea change, and it needs to be hammered out.
I agree, it seems like such a giant, I mean, it's doubling their budget and it's a giant shift. And that's a lot of, I mean, it's a lot of money to spend without the taxpayers' opinion.
Yes.
This is sustaining what they do. We're not changing the way that department runs. All we're doing is actually paying money so there are people on call. We're not, that's what this is doing. It's not adding personnel. It's not adding a fire truck. It is providing the department with money so they can ensure that the people who are now volunteering are going to continue to be available to serve the people of the town. It's not changing the fire department.
We can do it, we can probably gauge the success of that very easily by a warrant article for 20 grand, which should fly. 80 grand, I don't understand how anybody's gonna try that.
Can we reallocate?
That's my concern.
Well,
It doesn't matter how you slice it, I could not in good conscience just add 80 grand to a budget. I won't do it.
what if, okay, so we have this fire truck capital reserve, right?
Mhm.
Can we write a warrant article asking the town to take whatever, $50,000 out of that capital reserve to fund this plan for, well, wait,
But I don't think we can legally,
Can't.
we can't change the purpose.
Capital,
of
you
it.
can't.
Yeah. If that money was raised just for a fire truck, it's gotta be just a fire truck. You
Yep.
can't change what it was voted to pay for.
Yep.
In other words, you have to buy a truck for that.
So then why don't we change the,
We could.
can we get rid of the fire truck capital reserve on here and change that to?
I find way too disruptive, and that's something that the towns, worked at. No,
Right, but if
it's a
we're-
good plan.
Like, if we're thinking about, like, what do we have in there, 350? If we can't get the, if we have to dissolve the town's fire department, then we're not gonna have a need for a fire truck. So, my thinking is if we can if we change the warrant article that's in there for the fire truck reserve fund.
Or this year's contribution.
That's
to
what
it.
I'm talking about, yeah.
Okay.
This
Not-
year's
not the
contribution to
total.
the fund, no, not the total, but this year's contribution to the fund, that way we could put in the 20,000 and have the town vote on 50. And that way we have a stopgap for now, and it buys the fire department some time to try and put this process in, but it also gives the townspeople the opinion. Because we're not going, $50,000 put in the fire truck fund isn't gonna do anything if we don't have a fire truck.
You're right. Who brought up dissolving the fire department? Or is that just that?
No, the
that's
concern
just
is-
the Edwards?
The
No, I
concern
know.
here is that most of the volunteers on the fire department have been serving for decades, and they're all starting to retire.
They're all my age, I know. I think Jackie actually that was a good idea. If we take some money from what it's gonna be for the fire truck, we can make that up at some point. I mean, or, God help us, we could buy a smaller truck. I just don't understand it enough to know.
Because, the other thing is with the new fire truck, we're gonna have to renovate that building too, and all of the school area and that whole place, so it's a lot more than just buying a fire truck. So if our fire department is in dire straits right now, then it makes more sense to raise that $50,000 to help support this new system and try it out for the year. Put that,
Just put that on hold for a year and direct the money that way.
yeah.
What do you think of that?
I don't think it's smart at all. You put a delay on saving up money up for the fire truck, they get more expensive, not less.
I
These
know,
are-
But it's not gonna
if you don't
matter.
have somebody to drive it.
I'm not saying that that's a potential issue, but that's not planning ahead. What we're doing is we're robbing Peter to pay Paul here.
Not really, we are jumping into something with both feet and we haven't gloved. We're just jumping into this.
And if the town has voted in the past to fund the fire truck capital, I don't understand why they wouldn't vote to fund the fire department. If that warrant article is now off the table, and they're putting that 50,000 into, and it's going to be a messaging issue, we'll have to explain to the town the reasoning behind it.
I wouldn't even go with 50, I would go with 20 to start, and if it's really,
The only reason I said 50 was because then it at least gets us close to what the fire department is requesting for the year.
Yeah.
If we put in 20
I didn't see the fire department in here requesting that money. I mean, I
they're
saw
here.
the.
He's been here several times.
I don't remember a meeting recently where,
this 86,000 is the plan that he proposed with the stipends and paying the
this was
bond.
weeks ago. I haven't seen anything more about how it would
He
be.
has been in a couple of times.
But I don't see a real plan.
Right. That was kind of my concern too, was that while he had an idea, there wasn't a lot of, this is
And it's a good
ready to go.
idea.
And, right, I agree that we need to do something, but doubling a department's budget in a year seems too much. I wish there was another way to do it, and I understand the department's need. I completely understand that, but it just, I'm with Betsy, I can't.
Again, what I'm offering is that a increase of 25% above their request, with the idea that over the next year, we utilize the ARPA funds to supplement that because it's off budget and doesn't require taxes. If come June, we don't think that this is working, then we don't spend the money that way. And more importantly, it's not on the budget and people aren't taxed for it.
I don't think you can gauge the success of this by June. For crying out loud, you just come out of winter. I mean, I don't know how many calls there are, but how are you going to gauge the success of it?
I think you're going to gauge the success by is providing these incentives for people to commit to be on call, actually putting bodies there to be on call. And if they're not, you know it's not going to matter, right? The whole point here is that they need people to be on call. And so if come March or April, they're making this offer for these funds to cover, to basically have people on call, and they're still not getting people to basically commit to being on call and being available, you know this isn't working.
I
Okay,
just
so
don't.
that's why I said put in the 20,000 from us, and then we raise the money from the taxpayers for the $50,000 that they would have approved for the fire truck capital. How much, I mean.
Again, I'd rather use the ARPA money, and it gives us far more flexibility in terms of funding. And if we don't end up, if this ends up not working, we didn't tax people for money that we ended up not spending.
That'd be the same thing, that money would revert.
No, the ARPA money doesn't hit the tax rate.
So what are you proposing to use from the ARPA funds?
I'm just saying having them available to supplement this program if we need to continue.
To supplement a program, you should initiate the program.
But if let me come back to these ARPA funds for a minute,
Mm-hmm.
because if whatever honestly, you have to commit 60 grand of the ARPA funds if we're only putting in 20.
We don't have to commit a dime of it.
But what I'm saying is that if this program is successful and we want to continue into it, we are technically earmarking $60,000 of the ARPA funds to support this fire department.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But
a
you
third of the
see-
ARPA funds.
Yeah, but the seed money for this program would come from where?
Again, my thought is not give them the 80,000 in the budget. Give them 20,000 in the budget. Utilize ARPA funds for whatever is necessary over the next year. And if we don't like the way that the program's being run, if we don't think it's working after the first quarter, if we think that the results are not what we think is necessary, we don't have to spend any more money.
But
Okay,
you can't say that you're going to give it a quarter because we just established that's not going to be enough time. So you can't. You have to be honest about this conversation and say we are looking at spending $60,000
Correct.
of the ARPA funds on our fire department.
Absolutely.
Which we also need to check and make sure that going forward, that's money that we are able to actually earmark for personnel and fire for this kind of system.
It qualifies under ARPA.
The dates though, do they qualify going forward?
Yep.
Because the ARPA funds were.
Yes, they do.
Well, the premium pay you said had to be done by December 2021.
Yeah, this isn't premium pay, this is basically for emergency services.
I understand that, but I would like to double check the dates on that for the police and fire and the safety portion of it. I know the premium pay ends in December, but what I'm wondering is if these funds can be used going forward to rebuild a fire department, or if it's something that should have been retroactive.
No, they can be used going forward for emergency, basically essential personnel or essential programs. So you can use that up to 2025 for that. This isn't the premium pay in terms, that's not what this is. This is providing funds for essential services, which is allowed under the ARPA funds.
Okay, well then let's do this. Let's put it up for a warrant article. If the town doesn't pass it, we have the ARPA funds as backup.
We do, yeah. But put it in
$20
as
budget.
20 grand to start.
I mean, I'm okay with starting with 20 because we need to do something.
And I agree. If they just said we have X number of calls for service, we have X number of people that show up, and they just show a history of this. I don't doubt it, but it would be an easy sell for the town. If,
I don't know if the number of calls is really going to be,
Well, that's exactly what Chief discussed when he was here, talking about this program.
I know, but I mean, to send out on a piece of paper, this is what our fire log looked like for 2021. We had, 20 calls for service. We needed 4 people showing up minimum, and it didn't happen. I mean, how many people in this town know that goes on? They don't, and you're asking them to spend, I mean, there's no public information. It's been circulating around here, but if the fire department's really serious about this, they need to sell it. Not just come to you for 80 grand. I don't know.
So what are you proposing to do then?
20 to start. I'd go along with that. This flies, and I don't think you'd really be able to tell if it worked or not for a couple of months, several months even. I mean, how many calls do we get? You'd have to, I mean, it's not going to be a quick fix.
well, I think part of it is staffing the place and paying a stipend for it. It's not so much pay per call, it's guaranteeing that there are people
That-
available
yeah,
that
yeah.
are committed to being on call. I think that's the issue, it's not so much a per call.
Yeah.
Well, there were 2 programs he discussed, if you remember, which is, one is the on-call program, and the other is the pay-per-call, for those who do respond.
Oh, I thought they were together. I thought
No,
they
it's basically looking at the options, do you do a blend of the 2, do you focus on one because one's more successful? That's, I think, really what they have to figure out.
This is what I'm saying, and you don't need a boatload of money to figure that out. Well, 20 grand should be able to pay. See, even if there are any takers, for crying out loud, there might not be anybody who wants to do it. I mean, I don't know.
And if the funds are raised in a warrant article,
You can leave the fire truck and everything.
well, wait. If the funds are raised in a warrant article and we don't end up spending, like say the town agreed to fund it for 50 grand and we don't end up spending that much money, we can work it backwards and move the 20,000 from the fire department that we budgeted for them to, can we,
No.
like if that, the warrant article money covers,
The warrant article money is very specific, and if you don't use it, you don't lose it. It just accrues. So once you voted that money as a warrant article, that money stays like that until it's all gone.
can it be used year over year?
No, it's restricted for
So it's
the
just-
purpose of the warrant article.
Yeah, it's the only way.
Again, that's why I was looking at, if we provide them the 20,000 to initiate this, we basically, under the understanding that we're gonna, if this needs to be done, we're gonna utilize ARPA funds to do it, it gives us that flexibility. If at a certain point in time we pull the plug, we're not restricted because we raised this money via a warrant article and not being able to spend the money. Yet we raised it and we tax everybody for it. in a
It's
year
not-
when our tax effort right now is at 22%.
You're gonna tax them regardless because they're
No.
either, they're,
ARPA won't do that.
oh my goodness, because either they're going to raise 50,000 for a fire truck or they're gonna raise 50,000 for, services. So either way, they're gonna be taxed on this 50,000. I'm not,
I was looking at this not in the context of the fire truck, but in the context of this program itself.
right, I understand that. And what my proposal had been was to, remove the fire truck warrant article that's on there now for this year and substitute that amount for this program, so that we provide $20,000 as the town, and then put it, the rest of it out to the voters to raise that amount of money to continue the program. And then if that doesn't work, then, you know,
Well, the only way to guarantee money for this program is to put it in the line item, put it right in the budget, like just add 20 grand. Even that pains me. The other way, or you do a warrant article.
but I'm thinking, so you're not thinking both.
I'm not, it gets, you're gonna confuse people. I mean, you already, without any public input, bumped the budget 20 grand. And now you're asking for, you know, oops, we didn't do it enough, so here's a warrant article too to supplement it. You're either gonna do it or you're not. If you've got two moving parts, it gets confusing. And as a warrant article, it can be, you know, zeroed out at the deliberative session and you still have 20 in the line item. So, it's just 80. 20 I can get used to, but not 80.
I think any department doubling their budget should have, it needs to be more, transparent's not the right word, but the public needs to be involved if any department is doubling their budget. I mean, that's like,
Well, I guess what I'm saying is the information available to Joe Voter on the street isn't out there. They don't know this. I mean, the stuff that you bring up, I know that the fire department's been in here, but I have not seen something like, this is what this town did, and the response was great or wonderful. I haven't seen anything except, you know.
No, I think what Chief communicated is that towns are implementing programs like this, and they're still having a hard time. Some of it is taking, but a lot of it is dependent upon the
So
type of personnel that
there
you have.
there gotta be towns for which this has enjoyed success. What is that town? What's the size? And how did they do it? How did they start it? Then I think we beat this one.
I think I mean, my hesitation too is that, you know, when Chief was in here, he wasn't even sure if it was going to work, which, and so to have that and then to say, well, let's, you know, put 80 grand in here for something that he didn't even seem to feel very confident about, that kind of makes me a little nervous too. So, I mean, I think putting 20,000 in is a compromise and a start, and, you know, we'll see how it goes.
And you know, if the fire department is really wants to see more than 20 grand, then that's a warrant article, and that's something that they sell. That's something that they inform the public. We need to know more about this. It'd be like,
Because what happens if we put 86,000 in the budget and they don't use it?
yeah,
Where does that money go? Like,
Are
if
you
we put-
talking about the 86,000 that's in the budget now for the regular services? You're talking about 80,000 for,
80, she meant 80.
Yeah, 80,
and they don't use it?
yeah.
Well, again, I'm trying to avoid that, in essence, again, I don't want that either. Given that that, we're talking about a 22% hike in the tax effort, I'm trying to minimize the tax effort. And if it comes through their budget or comes through the warrant article, it gets taxed. And so it's going to impact taxpayers.
Right now you said without that increase in budget, we're at 14%. So if we don't increase their budget to 80, to add that 80,000, then we're at 14%.
Correct.
Not 22%.
No. If we put 80,000, whether via warrant or whether via their budget, we end up with 22% hike.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't see any, what I'm saying is I don't have a piece of paper in front of me saying, this is how much it's gonna cost to even initiate it. We don't know.
I may have that. Chief did bring paperwork and laid it out for us. I don't, maybe you did not receive it, but I do remember receiving it, and I can look in here and see
He
if I
brought
have it.
he brought a spreadsheet basically saying, I'm assuming 2 people on call for this number of hours at this rate, and therefore, that's how we get to the 80,000.
And that's fine, but who does the planning, in essence, you're gonna need an assistant or somebody to run this program. And you're gonna need it to run out of somewhere.
He assumes a certain amount for administrative cost as well.
But who's gonna do it?
I assumed it was either going to be him or they were going to contract with somebody to provide the administrative service. But he assumed a certain amount of money for that as well, in providing those numbers. My point was this. Honestly, I'm trying to figure a way so that we do not have to tax people more than the big tax that they're about to get.
Well, then why don't we just,
The idea was providing a portion of this in their budget, a small portion. Look, I'd be happy to do 0 and leave their budget like this. If what we're going to plan on doing is then utilizing the ARPA money, which stays off budget and therefore doesn't hit the tax rate. If we're going to utilize those funds to basically see if this program works. If it doesn't work, we pull the plug on it. But I don't want to raise $80,000, which we may not even end up using, but we're going to tax people for it. And if we do it via a warrant article, we're going to tax people for it, and if we pull the plug, we're never even going to spend
but
that
you
money.
wanted to put it as a line item. It was going to be taxable a couple weeks ago, you're saying.
I know, but since then, I've been going over the numbers, trying to come up with a solution, and this is what I think is a reasonable solution that minimizes the impact on property taxes. I'm open for other suggestions. I'm just saying, I want the flexibility without taxing people. That's what I'm trying to figure out, and this was the option I came up with.
If we can find,
Okay, so, I'm sorry.
what did you dig up in your papers?
Right, so I have the option, so the on-call shift, when he came in originally, the stipend he said was not recommended. So he was thinking per call pay and on-call in town.
Right.
So so this I think is where I was confused because we had the 2 sets of numbers. We had the amount that it would cost to have these people on during shifts and then also the paper call. So he was doing 2 different things.
Right, exactly.
Those 2 things, he said probably fall in the middle around 80,000
Right.
if we had, because 1 member or 2 members. So, we could just do the paper call, which was $22,750. If we wanted to kind of see, if that brings enough people in, just.
That would be a good way to get your feet wet. I do have that sheet. No, I still need more.
Look,
So you don't want to just leave everything as is and rely on ARPA?
That's where I was headed, or if we want to not entirely rely on ARPA, we put a little in the budget. Again, I'm looking at it from the perspective of we want flexibility. If we don't feel that this money makes sense to pull it, without having to tax people up front for it.
Well, if you,
And that's why, we were talking about it last time about the Warren article, and I was like, I'm not sure that's the best way to do it. Trust me, there's no good answer here. I'm just trying to figure a way, we know there's gonna be a large tax hit this year, to try to at least keep that down as much as possible. To me, this was the best way in terms of optionality I could think of. If you guys can come up with a better idea, I'm all
well,
for it.
I don't see any problem, and in fact, I would support adding 20,000 to their budget to start this. Yes, it's raising taxes, but this is la la land, starting a program with ARPA funds, and then, oh dear, 2 years from now, you've got a department with, you know, this huge bottom line. It could take off. Who knows? I don't think it will. But you're just delaying the inevitable. If you want to change the program, this is what it's going to cost to initiate it and get some investment from the voters in on it. And
again, to that point, Betsy, starting out with something in the budget, if we're gonna have to go down this road, you'd rather take it in increments, increasing it every year, than all the time.
That's why
Right.
using ARPA is just delaying the sticker shock.
It's delaying the sticker shock, but yeah, I mean, I think I'd rather delay the sticker shock than a 22% hike.
Yeah, but
If
what
I can
if
avoid
20
it.
grand, what's 20 grand gonna?
No, the 20 grand is the incremental, right? That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But
So-
Betsy's right, like, we can't depend on ARPA funds, you know, what are we gonna do next year?
Yeah.
You know, what are we going to do the year after? I mean.
Look, we're buying time, guys. That's what we're doing.
But the other thing is, and that's harder to define, if we just use ARPA funds, and this is something that happens unbeknownst to most of the people in the town, until next town meeting where we're saying, okay, well, we took money and we instituted this program in the fire department, and now we want the town to underwrite it.
No, in my opinion, I think it's incumbent on the fire department over the next year to provide regular updates in terms of the board, as how this program is working, because the board is gonna have to make a determination. 2 months in, they may say, we're pulling the plug. We're not doing this anymore,
Okay,
right?
so,
I mean, that's how it, and
But
again, knowing that that's quite possible, given the track record of what Chief has said from other towns, I can totally see us saying, 3 months or 4 months in, we're done. And if that's the case, we want that flexibility. That's where I was going with this. And trust me, I don't want to spend money that we don't have to spend.
Oh, but you've got to get some investment from the town, and ARPA isn't the way. And 20 grand is not a hell of a lot. It's not.
It takes us up to a 16% on the tax.
That's okay. That's not.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
yes, we're going from 14 to 16 is what we're doing. And again, we have to do it, right? We have to spend money. I'm just trying to figure a way that we can have the most flexibility on that so that we don't encumber the property taxpayers in town if we don't need to.
can we, request a long-term plan from the fire department?
Of course.
Because I think that was a part of my hesitation too, was that there wasn't much, like, this is a stopgap and we need it, right? But we don't have a big plan as to what happens if this does work. Because like you said, we're going to have to raise 166,000 if that's the case, you know, with their budget doubling. And 1 year is not enough.
Yeah, no, look, like I said, I think it's gonna be incumbent on the fire department to, monthly come in here and talk about what are you doing, how's it working, and to your point, okay, given what you know, where's this fire department gonna be in a year or two?
Yeah.
Right? Is this gonna work? Is this basically the new structure of a fire department for us? Okay, if so, then we need to think about, the long-term implications for the department. If not, we're pulling the plug on this, you gotta come up with something else.
Well, yeah, and then you also have all the capital reserve funds set aside, so,
How's it gonna work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we agree that add 20 grand and see how it goes, and if they want more money, they put in a warrant article.
Yeah, if they want to raise it via tax, I think do that, but I think that, under the understanding that if the program goes well, in my opinion, I don't want to do a warrant article. I mean, if the town decides to do a
We
warrant
can.
article, the town decides to do a warrant article. Nothing we can do to change that. The town decides, you know what, we're gonna lump it in the budget, they can lump it in the budget. I just think coming in with a plan that says, look, we're gonna do 20,000 in the budget, because if this works, we're gonna have to incrementally increase this every year, with the understanding that if this is working, and only if this is working, we'll plan to utilize some of the ARPA money to basically get us through next year.
Yeah.
So are we going, so we're going to raise it 20,000, but is the department going to then implement this entire program?
I think they're gonna implement the on-call and the pay per call, so they can figure out, I mean, one of those may work, one may not. I think we need to give them a chance to figure out what is working. And so, but I think it's incumbent upon the department to report regularly, and for this board to hold their feet to the fire to say, what is going on, what is working, and what is not.
Well, and I think it's important that the town realize at the deliberative session that this is a problem.
Oh, yeah, no, this will be the biggest discussion at the deliberative
Well,
session, by far.
I don't think, again, just people in general realize that. I mean, it's, the fire trucks go by and that's it.
Yeah.
I mean.
No, I think this will be the single biggest discussion point at the deliberative session, with respect to the
Get
budget.
20 grand easy.
What's that?
Mosquito control budget. That's an easy
All
one.
right, so then, again, I don't want to jump a gun here, but what we're saying is we'll give them 20,000 in their line.
Yes.
Okay, so just so that we have all this on the same page, so if we do that, 20,000. So the operational outlay is 1,833,099, right? Which is an 8.8% increase over last year. Okay, with the warrant articles, it's 1,890,099. And the tax effort, assuming the revenue numbers that Sue has, would be a 16% jump. Okay? I mean, it is what it is. We're just trying to minimize the impact here at this point.
I think we hammered it out pretty well.
But this discussion will be done twice as long at deliberative.
Oh, yeah. That's
So we can put in place stipulations around, like, I'm for the 20,000. I am nervous about potentially committing another 60,000.
But that's the flexibility number. If they're not reporting back to us, if they're not letting us know, great, then they gotta run it on.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. If anything, this gives us more control over the program than a warrant article. Because a warrant article says you're spending the money.
Yeah.
This says, we're gonna give you some budget. We'll commit to use the ARPA money if this program is working and you're reporting back to us. That's what we're saying.
Yeah. No,
To me, it also doesn't hit the tax rate. It gives us more control and gives us flexibility.
gives them flexibility.
It holds their feet to the fire.
Yeah. Well, it's,
And I guess too, he's got this proposal with 1, 2, and 3 members. I mean, in theory, we could, 66,000 is for one member with the paper calls and so.
Yeah, I mean, he may find that it's working with one member, which would be great. He may find it's not working. Okay.
and
We
then.
pull the plug. So,
Well, and somebody also floated the idea of joining with Newmarket. So there are all kinds of.
yes, but again, by doing that, right, and basically phasing out that's where the insurance issue really kicks in. So, but that's a conversation about.
Yeah, let's,
All right,
let's get,
so we'll put the 20 in right now.
yep.
We'll obviously have this longer conversation at deliberative, but are there any other lines in the budget that you guys are looking at to further consider before the budget hearing in January?
Yeah, I keep bringing up, this is probably not the time, you probably don't want to have a quick science lesson, but the mosquito control budget that's not what this town needs.
You want to zero that out?
Huh?
You want to zero it out?
No, not zero it out, but all I think this town needs to pay for is surveillance and the state permit that if surveillance picks up Triple E,
You know you're preaching to the choir, right?
Well, no, but based on science, we're spending
I'm with you.
20 some odd grand with these poor schmucks going out on the marsh and spraying salt marsh mosquitoes.
You know as well as I do. I would highly advise we do not do this here, but if you seriously want to have that conversation, have it at deliberative session.
Okay.
And if there's a consensus, that change can be made.
Well, we're spending money where it shouldn't be, where it's not, you're not enjoying
I
the
get it.
benefit of mosquito-free
I get it.
anything.
I get it.
So, can we talk about, I'm sorry.
Go right ahead. No, go ahead.
Um, Recycling.
Yeah.
I talked to Jim.
Fennell?
Yeah.
Yep.
Happened to be throwing out my cardboard, because we're doing, like, making money on our cardboard. So is this number, the 62,000, is that going to be accurate? Because we paid, what, 20?
Well, the fixed fee portion of this is the 50,796, which is the collection portion. And then we're basing the 130.56 on, based on our tonnage that he's been doing since June. So it's 130.56 times the 1.7 times 52 weeks. So that's where we get the 62,338.
Oh, can I touch you for a second?
Yeah.
All right, so was the warrant article money that was raised was supposed to be through 2021?
Yes, to the end of this
To the
year.
end of this year.
Correct.
So we only spent 28.
We spent, no, hold on a minute. It's right next to it.
Yeah, it says actual expenditures, 28,09560.
What page are you on?
8, 423, 43231.
43231. Oh, solid waste recycling. So,
I'm just wondering if that number's too high, and maybe should we reach out to Jim and see if,
we can double check that. We'll double check that before the budget. That may not, that may be that may either be only the dumping fee or only the collection fee. I'd have to double check. I think that's not the full amount.
well, that's I mean, wouldn't you put any expenditures under the warrant article? If the 50,000 is what?
No. So we're not doing a warrant article this year. For
I understand that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, the warrant article raised 50,000, but we've only spent 28. And
Yes.
that was June to, the end of the month?
Yeah. We
So-
spent 30 basically for half a year, right?
Yeah, okay, I see.
And so I think we're in the right ballpark here. It's all a function of what the regular, what rates they are getting and what we end up paying.
Right, I'm thinking this, if I double this 50,000.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, it's more, by the end of the year, call it $30,000. So the 62,338 is basically the amount plus the adders that we are dealing with. I mean, I'll double check just to make sure, but I think the 62 is probably
No, you're right.
around the right number.
So we lose that 12,000 that's left on that warrant
You don't lose warrant article money.
Yeah, that's a good question because that was only done for a year. It wasn't a capital reserve, so it doesn't get reserved. I'm not sure how it rolls back. Capital reserves are different. Capital reserves are different.
Right.
So I'd have to check. That may roll to unassigned fund balance because it was specific to like a service for a year, which is different than a capital reserve.
Does it
fund.
state the calendar year?
Yeah, it's stated for this year.
Okay, I just want to make sure that's covered.
So a capital reserve fund is more of like a long-term thing, and when you vote the money in, it's voted for a specific purpose. That purpose cannot change.
But
There are different types of reserve funds too. There's a capital reserve fund. There's also certain operating reserve funds. This warrant article, though, was written as a warrant article for a one-time specific for 2021 funds available for recycling.
I might check that, it might be for March.
What do you mean?
I feel like we came up with this $50,000 because it was a.
No, we did it for a half year, recognizing that we wouldn't be able to get the program started until June because we'd have to go out to bid and go through that process. And so it was really geared towards 50,000 for the year. And certainly Jim's numbers, as he's provided, back to us, certainly looks like the 62,000 would cover his services for the year, which again makes sense given what he charged for the half year.
Yeah. All right, so then we'll just find out where that 12,000.
Yeah, I'll tell. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at the warrant article and the form of it, and then double check as to how. My guess is something like that ends up in an unassigned fund balance, because that one is more like that warrant article is more like adding a line item on our operating budget as opposed to a capital reserve fund, which are treated very differently.
well, yeah, and the capital reserve fund is to purchase something. It's a
Typically, yes, and with a very, very specific. Yeah.
It's a thing.
Yep.
So what, I know it's late, I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
Where does so with the unassigned fund balance,
Mhm.
what do we use that money for? Or can that money be used for?
Well, we used some of it at the end of this year when we basically adjusted the tax rate. Remember?
Okay.
That's what unassigned fund balance used for.
Oh.
We used it once. We used some of it to basically minimize the tax impact when we did the renovations to town hall. We utilized some of the unassigned fund balance to do that.
Okay. That's right, that's that big tranche of money.
But we went to the voters to ask permission to do that.
Yeah.
Right? The select board as a body, the select board uses it with respect to the tax rate. But if we're gonna tap it and use it for something else, you have to go to the voting body to do that. We just can't decide to use the unassigned fund balance
Oh, yeah.
as a board to go spend it on something out there. We can use it. Every year in December, we adjust the tax rate with it, but that's the only way we as a body, the 3 select board members, can do that. That's the only power.
Okay, the voters will decide
If they want to use it for something else.
Okay. So that could be an option too for fire department?
Yeah, but again, it's, typically you don't want to keep rating your unassigned fund balance for operational things.
Yeah.
But I know.
It is not, trust
It's an option.
me, if you're backed into a corner, yes, you can always go to the voters for it. All right, other line items? Did you guys want to finalize on? The one thing I'll raise, and this is a discussion I had with John Hayden at planning. So Rockingham Planning Commission is offering services, basically circuit services, as well as assistance for things like, master plan and capital improvement plan at a fixed $70 an hour rate. I have to go back and I have to look at the situation with respect to Glenn, who's currently on contract with the planning board. It may make sense to not go with Glenn, but to basically go on contract with the planning commission because the demands of the planning board outside of one big project next year, anticipated project next year, probably it may save a few $1,000s. So I'm just saying this as it may be right before the budget hearing, we may want to make one more change, or at the deliberative session with respect to the plan line. We're not talking about a lot of money,
So what is it?
a couple $1,000.
I'm sorry, can you tell me, say again that first part?
So currently, the planning board contracts with Glenn Greenwood for planning support. He's a consultant to the board. The Rockingham Planning Commission is offering services for planning services for the kinds of things that the planning board relies on Glenn with at basically an hourly rate. It may make sense to basically not renew with Glenn and basically go with the planning commission on an hourly fee, which we have to look at it, save a couple $1,000s on the planning budget. It's the only other area in here going over my lines that I could identify as
So
Additional
Glenn is
savings.
with who now?
Glenn's consultant.
Just independent?
Yep.
Oh, okay, because I always associate
Yep.
Glenn with Rockingham.
Yeah, no, he's an independent. He's an independent. I mean, outside of that, most of these budgets are, there's not a lot of increase here.
No.
And the police budget,
Mhm.
we're granting, correct?
Again, we can push back on it if we want to. I mean, my inclination is just given where the department is, the issues that the department is having, as much as I don't like to see a 10% increase, I can understand what the new chief is trying to do. And, I'm willing to, my personal belief is I'm willing to give him slack. I would certainly hold his feet to the fire next year and say, you're not getting,
You're not doing
you're getting
it.
inflation. You're not getting 7% next year, you're not getting 6%, you're getting something much more in line with, 2-3%.
No, I don't think any good will come from fiddling around with that budget.
I don't either. Not with the new chief and having him come in,
But
try to
you're-
hire a lieutenant and fill the holes that has to be filled. Trust me, if you wanna press back, I'm all for
I
it.
am not pushing back. I want to make sure that the health insurance increases that you requested were.
Yeah, that's in the budget.
Yeah.
Yep, they're in the budget. Yep, they're all in
So
it.
this is two family, one single.
Yep.
No, that's fine. I just want to make sure those are covered.
Yep. All right, then I'll talk to Sue tomorrow about basically finalizing this for our budget hearing. Like I said, if there's anything you guys want to maybe address or tweak, like I said, I'm just going to take a quick look at planning and zoning, but I'm having a hard time finding other lines to play with. And then the budget hearing in January, when we'll present this to the town, deliberative session in February, and then elections in March. Okay?
I'm ready.
All right, just a couple more items here real quick. January meeting dates.
Ooh,
We have the 11th for the budget hearing. Do we-
The 11th is the budget hearing, correct?
yeah.
Do you guys just want to plan on just meeting a half hour before the budget hearing on the 11th? So be here at 6:30? Again,
Yeah.
we may be, just chatting up a storm, but just in case we have any lines that we want to change right before the budget hearing, so that we can present that at the budget hearing. So I'll just suggest 6:30 there. With everything else going on, communication's been good with the chief. I'm not sure we need to meet before then, unless any of you feel
Oh,
compelled.
yeah.
Okay, so do you want to look then at the 25th
Okay.
of January? Right, we'll meet the 11th,
Yeah.
and then we'll meet the 25th.
And then the deliberatives on the 8th.
Then the deliberative is on the 8th, yep. So you have those, 6:30 on the 11th, Keisha? And then set a regular 7 o'clock meeting on the 25th?
Got it, thank you.
All right. And then we have one prior meeting minutes, correct?
Yes.
December 7th. So So, I want to deal with the amendment that we discussed earlier. After that first paragraph, oh, no, I'm sorry, not there. Nope. Wrong place.
I think it's further down.
Yeah. So, second page, after the first paragraph, I believe I made the motion, I'm recalling from memory, anyone can correct me, but Michael made the motion to encumber the funds for the cruiser, to utilize $4,727 from emergency management for the radios, and for the fit-up funds to come from the detail account. Anybody remember who seconded?
Oh, I probably did.
I would guess Betsy. So I'll say that, we'll just say Betsy seconded, and it was all in favor.
47, oh, just for the radios. What about the,
Fit up?
oh, the fit up with the radios?
Yep, from the detail account. Okay? Just want to make sure that the minutes reflect that.
And are we encumbering the whole 32,000? Sorry, there was a discussion of.
Yes, we were going to encumber the full amount of funds for the cruiser. By the way, not that I'm changing the minutes, but just to let you guys know, the initial ARPA slug came in was $90,000, not 100.
Oh,
I quoted about 100 last time, but just to let you know, it was 90.
I'm sorry, were you saying something in here has to be changed?
No, it doesn't have to be changing here. It was more of an informative than an amendment.
Do we need to revisit the general government buildings
buildings?
on page 2?
Part of that we were going to, page 2.
It says the board will revisit general government buildings as this line includes the 14K water
You
sewer.
will have.
Right. So it's going to be on a warrant article, and